Okay, so picture this. You're in Bangkok, April 4th, 2025. Leaders from 7 different countries. You know, big, important summit. Everyone's kind of buzzing around, and you've got this amazing smell of, like, Thai street food just kind of wafting through the air.
Sounds delicious.
It really was. This was for the 6th Bimstec Summit. Now, Bimstec, I know it's kind of a mouthful.
It is a bit of a tongue twister.
It stands for the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. I mean, it's a lot, but trust me, what happened there was really fascinating and actually super important. So today we're going to deep dive into why this particular summit with India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, why it matters so much.
Yeah, there was a lot going on under the surface.
There really was. And especially India's push for, its own digital payment system and this whole idea of keeping the Indian Ocean open for everybody to use.
Right, it was about way more than just the official agenda. Bimstec,
Wow.
it's not just another one of those, talking shops. It's really this vital link between South Asia and Southeast Asia, all that energy and economic growth. It's almost like, I don't know if you're a music fan, but it's like this incredible playlist.
Yeah, like,
7 different countries, each with their own unique sound, but they're all contributing to the same song. And that whole neighborhood watch idea, it's spot on. They're all working together to solve these shared problems, trade security, even natural disasters.
absolutely. So they came up with this big 21-point action plan, right? But the thing that really stood out for me was this proposal to connect India's Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, to every other BIMSTEC country's payment systems.
Yeah.
Now, you've probably seen UPI in action.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in Delhi and you want to buy some chai, you just tap your phone and boom, you're done. No cash, no hassle. It's completely changed how people pay for things in India. And I think a lot of people were thinking, why not share this with everyone else?
Yeah, I mean, imagine the possibilities, right? A
Yeah.
small business in Nepal, let's say they make these beautiful handicrafts. They could get paid instantly by someone in Thailand just through an app. No more crazy international bank fees, no more waiting for the money to go through. It could really speed things up, make trade so much easier and cheaper.
Absolutely. And I think, I even said this at the summit, that it could really turbocharge trade, industry, tourism. It's not just hype.
Yeah.
I mean, India has really invested in building this amazing digital infrastructure. Think about it. Government services, our online banking is more accessible to everyone. It's like we've built this powerful engine, and now we're ready to share it with our BIMSTEC partners. We even talked about, maybe doing a study on trading in our own local currencies.
Right.
So instead of always using US dollars, businesses could trade directly using rupees, takas, baht, whatever makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like each country bringing their own unique ingredients to the table.
Right, like a big potluck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that would make things a lot simpler, cutting out the middleman.
And it really gets to this idea of, regional economic power, not being so reliant on the, big global systems. It could make us a lot more resilient if things get rocky in the world economy.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about something that was kind of the elephant in the room. The Indian Ocean. I said that keeping it free, open, secure, and safe was a top priority for all of us. And I think everyone knew what I was talking about, even though we didn't name names. There's a certain major player in the region who's been, let's just say making their presence known, building islands and things like that.
Yeah, let's just say some folks were a little concerned.
Right. But the point is, the Indian Ocean, it's not anyone's backyard. It's a vital waterway for global trade security, everything. And if one country tries to control it, that's a problem for everyone.
It's like trying to put a fence around the ocean. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. So one big step we took was signing the Maritime Transport Agreement. This is all about making it easier for ships and cargo to move between our countries, less red tape, smoother sailing, just making trade flow more efficiently.
Greasing the wheels of commerce.
I like that I also put forward this idea for India's Sustainable Maritime Transport Center. My vision for this is that it becomes a kind of hub.
Yeah.
Brain trust for expertise and research in the maritime sector. The goal is to make sure that our seas are open for business, but also that they're protected and managed responsibly. It's a message I think everyone needs to hear.
Absolutely. And it shows a real commitment to the long-term health of the Indian Ocean.
And we didn't just talk about economics in the ocean. We also had some serious conversations about security, cybercrime, terrorism, drug trafficking, human trafficking. These are problems that affect all of us. So I proposed this idea of having our home ministers meet regularly, the top security officials from all 7 countries.
So they can compare notes and, come up with strategies together.
Exactly, because these problems, they don't stop at borders, do they?
Right.
We need to be working together and sharing information, and I offered for India to host the first meeting later this year.
That kind of direct communication is so important, especially when you're dealing with, organized crime and terrorism.
Absolutely. And, while we're on the topic of things that can really disrupt life, we also talked about natural disasters.
Hmm.
The recent earthquake in Myanmar, that was a wake-up call for all of us. I mean, it was felt pretty far and wide.
It definitely showed how vulnerable we all are.
It did. And, India's always ready to help our neighbors when these things happen. We've done it before for Myanmar, and we'll do it again. But we can't just wait for the next disaster to hit. That's why I propose setting up a Bimstec Center of Excellence for disaster management in India. It's about being proactive, having a plan in place so we can all respond quickly and effectively when something happens.
Like a regional playbook.
Exactly. And while we're talking about connections, we also discussed, the importance of infrastructure, roads, railways, ports, but also digital networks, energy grids, all of that. We already have the Bimstec Energy Center in Bengaluru doing some great work, and I really push for faster progress on connecting our electricity grids across the region. Think about it. Bhutan, with all its hydropower, could be powering homes and businesses in Bangladesh. It's a win-win, cleaner energy for everyone.
It's really about creating a more sustainable future for the whole region.
And of course, Bimstec is all about boosting trade and economic cooperation. That's a big part of it. So I suggested creating a Bimstec Chamber of Commerce and hosting a business summit every year in India. It's about getting our entrepreneurs together, building relationships, making deals, sparking new ideas. We're neighbors. We should be doing business together.
Absolutely. And when businesses connect, that creates jobs and opportunities for everyone.
But it's not all about business, We also talked about our shared cultural heritage. We have so much in common, ancient festivals like Odisha's Bali Jatra, which has ties to Southeast Asia, Buddhist and Hindu traditions that connect so many of us. Even our languages have these fascinating links. And to celebrate this, I announced that India will be hosting the first ever Bimstec Traditional Music Festival this year. Imagine the music, Indian tablas mixing with Thai instruments. It's going to be amazing.
That's a fantastic idea. Music is such a powerful way to connect with people.
We also want to make sure that young people are a big part of Bimstec. We launched this initiative called BODI. It's a bit of an acronym, but it stands for Bimstec, for Organized Development of Human Resource Infrastructure. Basically, we're going to bring 300 young people from Bimstec countries to India every year for training programs and scholarships. They'll be studying at some of our best institutions like the Forestry Research Institute and Nalanda University. We're also planning a Bimstec Young Leaders Summit, a hackathon to get their creative juices flowing, and a Young Professionals program. It's all about investing in the future of our region.
Right, giving them the tools and the connections to succeed.
And of course, we can't forget about sports. We're hosting the Bimstec Athletics Meet this year, and to mark our 30th anniversary in 2027, we're launching the first ever Bimstec Games. I'm really excited about that. A little friendly competition is always a good thing. I have a feeling Nepal might just sweep the sprinting events. They've got that high-altitude advantage.
I wouldn't bet against them.
Me neither. We also talked about some really important issues that affect people's lives every day, things like health and agriculture. India has committed to providing training and support for cancer care across all the Bimstec countries. We also want to create a center of excellence for traditional medicine, recognizing the value of these ancient practices. And for agriculture, we're planning a regional research center and even training people on how to use nanosatellites. So we can use things like remote sensing data to help farmers improve their crops.
It's amazing how technology can be used to solve these age-old problems.
It really is. So overall, the Bangkok Summit was a huge success. Thailand did a fantastic job as host, and their theme, Bimstec, prosperous, resilient, and open, really captured the spirit of what we're trying to achieve. We adopted the Bimstec Declaration, the Bangkok Vision 2030, which is our roadmap for the future, and of course that Maritime Transport Agreement. We also approved the report from the Eminent Persons Group, which will help guide our actions going forward. It was really inspiring to see how united we all were, despite our differences. We all want the same things: prosperity, stability, peace, and we're making progress, whether it's through things like UPI or strengthening our energy grids or even celebrating our shared culture through music. It makes you think about what we can accomplish when we work together.
It really does. And it's not just about, economics or security. It's about building a sense of community, a shared identity. I mean, imagine what the future holds. As digital technology becomes even more powerful, how will things like UPI change the way we interact, the way we do business? It could reshape the entire region. And that's something we're thinking about.